Hello, I'm Michael Mintz, and welcome to Undetectable Automation for the Chrome Devtools Protocol. And this, of course, is the follow-up to my Undetectable Automation series, which you can find on YouTube, where the first video had over 30,000 views already and over 900 likes. So this presentation was originally presented a few days ago at Boston CodeCamp 37 at the Microsoft Sales and Technology Center in Burlington, Massachusetts. So there are a few slides that are specific to that, but let's get on to the main presentation here, which is CAPTCHAs and anti-bot services. Do they really work? Find out. Last time, I talked about Cloudflare turnstiles and Google reCAPTCHA, and that was in Undetectable Automation Episode 3, Revenge of the CAPTCHAs. And this time we're going to cover way more than that. So there are all these different physical CAPTCHAs to click, like the reCAPTCHA, HCAPTCHA, and Cloudflare turnstile. And of course, there are lots of invisible anti-bot services out there, such as Encapsula, Akamai, Datadome, Perimeter X, Casada, and Shape Security. And there are also different types of reCAPTCHA, like there's the invisible reCAPTCHA, which isn't necessarily as strong as the physical reCAPTCHA that you have to click. So just note that not all CAPTCHAs, even by the same company like Google here, are created equal. This is what happens when you fail a reCAPTCHA. You basically have to find, crosswalks and images and, different types of things. Regular automation for sure isn't going to solve this. So if they catch you, the reCAPTCHA, then they're going to make your bot try to solve this, and it probably won't get through that. Unless maybe you try to solve the audio CAPTCHA or something like that. And this, of course, is what happens when you fail HCAPTCHA. You get to essentially find lots of cute bunnies in photos. Automation isn't going to easily solve this, and even AI is going to have some trickiness solving that. And of course, if you like puppies, there's also the puppy version of HCAPTCHA, which is equally tough to do for most automation systems. And of course, if the invisible anti-bot services block you, you'll probably hit a page like this, such as here. You'll see you have been blocked, and then it'll say something like, why? Well, something about the behavior of the browser has caught our attention. There are various possible explanations for this, such as you are browsing and clicking at a speed much faster than expected of a human being, or something is preventing JavaScript from working on your computer, or there is a robot on the same network as you. So, of course, if they catch you, they'll block you. And of course, this is what happens when Gandalf blocks you. You shall not pass. But actually, there is a Hobbit CAPTCHA, so if you fail that, you're going to get the Gandalf block page. No joke. That was I put that up on SeleniumBase.io/Hobbit/login if you're interested in trying your bot at it. So also an important notice, you should know the laws and legal implications of bypassing CAPTCHAs. So web scraping is legal if you scrape publicly available data on the internet. However, if you log into a website and then take that data, then that might not be so legal. So by the end of this presentation, you're going to learn which anti-bot systems work and which ones don't. And you might already know this, but most don't work. There's going to be multiple live demos. You'll learn how to bypass weak defenses. And of course, you'll learn powerful web scraping techniques. But first, a little about me. So that's me right there in the image. I created the SeleniumBase framework, and I lead the automation team at iBoss. And in my spare time, I may be found spending time with entrepreneurs. Like here, some tech people, Brian Halligan, Dharmesh Shah of HubSpot, because I worked there in the past, got to spend time with them. Or I might be spending time with celebrities, like, just the other week I was at Comic-Con, got, selfie with Jonathan Frakes, so spending time with celebrities, and of course spending time with politicians, like here, that's Tulsi Gabbard. I guess you'll be seeing more of her pretty soon in the White House, but so politicians, I might be hanging around them. And of course famous philanthropists and educators, like the world-famous Jeff Seidel. And I'll also be speaking at conferences. As you can see there, it's just like me at the SeleniumConf. And I might also be attending conferences as a guest, such as here where I attended Microsoft Build, or you might find me jet skiing in Key West. And of course, working on SeleniumBase, that's my main project. You can see here when the pandemic hit, I had all this extra time to spend working on it because I didn't have like the hour commute each way to go into work. So I could, instead of commuting into the city to work, I could spend the extra time, developing out SeleniumBase for automation. And if you go all the way forward, you can see it's already like at over 5,000 GitHub stars. And it had its humble beginnings back when I open sourced it in March 5th, 2014. That was back when I was working at HubSpot, and they're like, yeah, you could open source this. I'm like, cool, I'll do it. And there you go. SeleniumBase was open sourced, and then I expanded it on my own, and now it's quite popular. So that's enough about me. Let's begin the presentation. So this here is the symbol for the Chrome Devtools Protocol. And this is the key to bypassing CAPTCHAs and other anti-bot systems. So the Chrome DevTools protocol is a remote debugging protocol that lets developers communicate with a running Chrome browser. You can inspect the browser's state, control its behavior, collect debugging information. You can also build Chrome extensions with it. And of course, lots of different players are using it. For instance, Selenium WebDriver has CDP components, and also Playwright has CDP components. So here we go. A lot of people are using CDP already, but not necessarily stealth CDP, which we'll cover. So here's just example of Playwright using CDP. You have all these different CDP things in Playwright. And of course, you also see here Selenium using CDP. Lots of different uses there within the Selenium repo. And of course, people might already know this, but Microsoft still supports Selenium, even though they have Playwright. And if you go to like the learn.microsoft.com, you'll see that they have like a whole section on using WebDriver to automate Microsoft Edge, and they've got examples that use Selenium. So it doesn't feel so awkward anymore speaking at a Microsoft conference, presenting something that uses Selenium, even though they're building Playwright. So also, happy birthday, Selenium, 20 years of it. Can you believe it? It's like, wow. Selenium has come a long way, and just this year, as for a very nice birthday present, Selenium got a new sponsor, Bright Data, and they invested a bunch of money into Selenium and then got, a cool notice on the selenium.dev/about section that, hey, Bright Data is a new official sponsor of Selenium. So it's cool. We got a lot of funding, and of course, that's great news for the Selenium community. Everyone's super happy to see that, there's a lot of funding coming at Selenium so that we can keep building the ecosystem up. So let's get back to CDP, Chrome DevTools Protocol, which is the key to where we're going very shortly. So lots of GitHub repos are using CDP. If you go to Chrome DevTools /awesome Chrome DevTools, you'll see a repo that keeps track of various other repos that are using CDP. And the first major Python implementation of CDP was here, the Python Chrome DevTools Protocol, which of course was created by a Mark E. Haas. And he, of course, works for MITRE, which means he works for the U.S. government. So this Python Chrome DevTools protocol was the first real instance of having a Python implementation of CDP that could be used for stealth CDP. So also it was nicknamed PyCDP, and that was the key ingredient to stealthy automation at a repo called NoDriver. And as you can see here, it has all the PyCDP components in the CDP folder. So essentially, PyCDP is powering NoDriver, which is a framework used for stealthy automation. And NoDriver is the successor of undetected Chrome driver, providing a blazing fast framework for web automation, web scraping, all that stuff. So that was basically the successor of this undetected Chrome driver framework, which just surpassed 10,000 GitHub stars. So it's the first real popular anti-bot system. The maintainer here sometimes takes long vacations and he disappears for a while, leaving gaps in the coverage where things might not work. And of course, the issues pile up, like here, 991. So maybe not necessarily the best option if you need the most up-to-date stealth capabilities. So also, in addition to using CDP for controlling Chrome in a stealthy way, you can also achieve stealth by using tools that control the mouse and the keyboard, and PyAutoGUI is one such tool. So as you can see here, using a pip deep tree, you can see there's like a ton of different dependencies, so it's like quite a heavy project if you like inspect it carefully. So yes, Al Swigart, he is the creator of PyAutoGUI, so that is another key component in addition to CDP that we're going to need for some stealthy automation. And PyAutoGUI requires a headed browser to work, and since most Linux machines have headless displays that don't support headed browsers, an external tool called Xvfb must be used in order to simulate a headed browser in a headless Linux environment. This is like a key component to having headed browsers work in headless environments. So now if you compile all those things together, so to have a completely stealthy framework for clicking CAPTCHAs and bypassing anti-bot systems, you'll need a framework that uses a regular browser to hide evidence of automation activity, CDP capabilities for performing stealthy actions, PyAutoGUI for performing tricky actions such as, clicking shadow root CAPTCHAs. JavaScript can't easily access that. PyAutoGUI can just click right through that without even looking at it. And of course the Xvfb integration for headless Linux systems. So note that SeleniumBase has all those packaged up nicely into a thing called CDP Mode, which is essentially the successor to UC Mode, right next to it, and that was used for basically the early days of undetectable automation, and that could easily bypass Cloudflare CAPTCHAs, but what was limited in UC Mode was that it couldn't handle all the real-time anti-bot systems, but CDP Mode can. So this is the SeleniumBase repo on GitHub. You can see, over 5,000 GitHub stars. Blazing fast Python framework for web crawling, scraping, testing, and reporting. Supports PyTest, stealth abilities, UC mode, and CDP mode. So that is SeleniumBase, basically doing all the things you're about to find out. And of course, we have a Discord channel, and that was just started recently. We've got over 200 people already. It started only a few months ago. And that is the invite link in case anyone wants to see the Discord. And on the topic of Discord, there's actually another cool room called Scraping Enthusiasts. And inside this room, there's a special tool that basically, if you type, say, anti-bot followed by a URL, it's going to tell you all the anti-bot services that are there on that particular website. So here, antibotpokemon.com/US, it'll say test results for Pokemon.com, and you'll see there's detects reCAPTCHA, well, an invisible reCAPTCHA. If you go there, it also detects encapsula, and if you scroll up, say the Nike.com, you'll see it had like shape security. So all of a sudden, with this particular thing, you can detect all the anti-bot services that are used on various sites, like Pokemon.com. All right, so moving on, if you want to access this server, that is the invite link for this, which is useful if you want to scrape various websites, because you want to know what anti-bot services they're using before you go there. So if you use that tool to figure out which anti-bots are protecting which sites, you can create a full list like this. So here you can see Pokemon's protected by the Imperva encapsula, Walmart's protected by Akamai and Perimeter X, Albertsons is protected by Imperva encapsula, EasyJet protected by Akamai, Hyatt protected by Casada, Southwest protected by Shape Security, Best Western protected by Datadome, Priceline protected by Datadome, Nike protected by Shape Security, and Nordstrom protected by Shape Security. So now that you know all the different protections that are on various sites, let's see if we can use SeleniumBase CDP mode, which has all the stealth CDP features and etc., in order to bypass the some physical CAPTCHAs. So up first, planetminecraft.com, the sign-in page. We're going to go in. Let's see if SeleniumBase can do it. Boom. As you can see here, SeleniumBase was able to load the site and it bypassed that CAPTCHA. let's go directly to cloudflare.com/login and try that site too. So we're going in, it's going to load cloudflare.com, and let's see if, boom, and it clicks it, ta-da! So success. So yeah, that was like PyAutoGUI in combination with CDP mode in order to click the CAPTCHA behind the shadow root element. That is quite effective. Up next, we have gitlab.com/users/signin. All right, so we're going through and boom, we just bypassed their anti-bot system. And now I'm just like playing around the site. You can see like SeleniumBase wasn't detected. So yeah, it's like writing on their Facebook wall, essentially. You can just use SeleniumBase in order to modify a site itself. So if you're wondering about the code for the previous live demo, it is right here. Something like, from SeleniumBase import SB, and then with SB use equals true to activate UC mode as SB. Then you set your URL. Then you do sb.activate CDP mode with the URL, and sometimes if you do things too fast, they'll think you're a bot even if they don't directly detect your bot. So you gotta like add liberally a lot of like sleeps in there just to prevent the bot detection from thinking the super fast clicking is normal, or basically to avoid the super fast clicking. And then you could do something like this, UC GUI click CAPTCHA, which if the CAPTCHA wasn't bypassed right on the initial page load, then it will get bypassed through that. And then you can do like a lot of other things like, assert text on a web page, assert the element, set the messenger theme, which is used for the next thing, sb.postMessage, SeleniumBase wasn't detected, so you can like inject JavaScript onto the page and like do whatever you want. Lots of cool things you can do there. So up next, let's go to bing.com/Turing CAPTCHA challenge, which is Microsoft's anti-bot system, but I think they're pretty much using Cloudflare for that. And boom, that was just easy to bypass, pretty weak. They just like used a Cloudflare CAPTCHA on that. But yeah, are you having fun yet? Because there's a lot more to come. So if you're not yet concerned about the state of online security, then you probably need to see more live demos. So it's time for live demos of bypassing some invisible anti-bot services. So let's go to pokemon.com/us, which is protected by the imperv capsula. So it's gonna load in here. We can see, okay, so we're on the Pokemon site. It's gonna click, and now it's gonna click the Pokédex. And then it's going to go in, it's going to find electric Pokemon. Let's say Pikachu is one. We're gonna find Pikachu, and there he is. And it's gonna like scrape some data from the website. And let's see. Then we're gonna go find all the Pokemon events near Concord, Mass, USA, and it gets a list of that. So if we go to this tab here, you can see the some data that it scraped, such as data for Pikachu and Pokemon events near Concord, Mass, USA. So that's just an example of some, web scraping on a site that has anti-bot protection. Up next, Walmart.com, which is protected by Akamai and Perimeter X. So we're going in Walmart.com. Here we are, and then the automation's going to start typing things. Settlers of Catan board game, because who doesn't like playing Settlers of Catan? And if you can see up here, it's like loading all these different Settlers of Catan items with their prices. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So up next, albertsons.com/recipes, protected by imperv capsula. So if you're hungry, let's get some food, right? All right, so let's do a search for, let's see, albertsons.com. I'm in the mood for some avocado smoked salmon, because who doesn't like avocado smoked salmon? So we're gonna go in, go through all the items. You can see that it's scraping through, it's like going through the page, and it's like loading all these avocado smoked salmon items that, so that was just a simple scraping of Albertsons. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so that's your smoked salmon recipes. Up next, let's do some flight stuff. So easyjet.com/en, protected by Akamai. We're going in. Gonna get our, flight helmet ready. Let's see. Automation is going in. Gonna click through that. Let's see. Let's go from London to, let's see what it does, Venice. And up next, it's going to do, let's see, fly on the 12th of January for one adult. Let's find these flights. And here we go, it's loading and boom. From London Gatwick to Venice, here we go, and you can see in this panel here all the data it's scraped about the flight data, such as departure times, arrival times, the price, how many seats left, etc. So yeah, pretty cool, huh? All right, so that is, EasyJet. Up next, let's go to Hyatt.com, protected by Casada. Going in, Hyatt.com. Let's get some hotels, right? Let's see. So we're going to click on hotels and resorts, and we're going to search for hotels in Anaheim, California, USA, and then search for that. And all of a sudden, we're going to get the availability within the selected dates. And here we go. I found a bunch of hotels. And if we go to this tab pane over here, you can see all the places it found, like the Hyatt House at Anaheim Resort Convention Center, and all these other places like Casa Laguna Hotel. Up next, we have bestwestern.com/n/US, protected by Datadome. All right, so we're going in. Let's do a search for Best Western Places. Let's see, Palm Springs, California, USA. So looks like a nice place to search for. Going in, gonna find a bunch of hotels. And here we go, they're loading. And if we go to the tab pane here, you can see that it is loading up all these hotels in Palm Springs, like the Chateau, Big Bear Boutique Hotel, or the Inn at Palm Springs, the Data Tree Hotel. All these exciting places. Up next, we have Priceline.com, protected by Datadome. All right, going to Priceline.com. Let's do some data scraping. Let's see, where to? Let's go to Portland, Oregon, USA this time. We're going to set the dates. Going to go on through. All right, let's see. Hotels listed. Scrolling through, because sometimes you have to scroll down in order for all the hotels to load. And as it scrolls down, we can see that, there we go, it just populated the list. And as you all know, William Shatner is the Priceline Price Chopper. So if he is the Priceline Price Chopper, does that make me the CAPTCHA Chopper? I would ask William Shatner in person, but I think he still remembers the time that I took his captain's chair on the USS Enterprise. So maybe he won't, talk to me until I give him back his captain's chair. But hey. Up next, Nike.com, protected by Shape Security. All right, here we go. Nike.com, let's get some shoes. I'm in the mood for some Air Force One shoes. And here we go. We got a full list right here. Nike Air Force One 07. A few various ones there. And if we go to the tab here, we can see that it found results for Nike Air Force One. Up next, Nordstrom.com, protected by Shape Security. Let's get some clothes for a friend or a wife or something like that. Cocktail dresses for women, teal. Let's do a search for that. Here we go. Green cocktail dresses. Who doesn't like those? Going through, going down, we are doing a search. Boom, and here's the whole list being populated right here, right now. Cocktail dresses at various prices, and there's a lot of options right here. So isn't that exciting? So yeah, CDP is powerful, as you can see, especially when used for stealth. So CDP is the trick to bypassing all these anti-bot systems, and of course PyAutoGUI can help with that too. So out of the following 9 anti-bot defense systems, and there's a lot of them, the 7 of these are weak, and they can't detect stealthy CDP. So that means the weak ones are the Cloudflare, Imperva Encapsula, Akamai, Datadome, Perimeter X, Casada, Shape Security. As you saw before, I just bypassed all these defenses. So I wouldn't recommend them if you absolutely want to make sure no one can scrape data from your website with automation, because they will not get the job done. However, these 2 will get the job done. They're strong. The Google reCAPTCHA and the HCAPTCHA. They are quite powerful. The CDP is detected when you try to, stealth your way through. So they'll block you and put up, physical CAPTCHAs that you'll have to solve fancy puzzles on, which your automation won't do so well. So what is Microsoft's stance on stealthy CDP? Well, officially, Playwright is an end-to-end testing framework where we expect you to test on your own environments. Bypassing any form of bot protection is not something we can act on. Thanks for your understanding. And this was the answer to someone who wanted to bypass Cloudflare turnstiles with Playwright. However, the unofficial answer is a little bit different from that because there are external repos using Playwright for stealth, and Microsoft employees are endorsing them via GitHub stars. So there's this framework here, Scrapling, which offers undetectable, lightning fast, and adaptive web scraping for Python. And you can see, if you look carefully, it is using Playwright. And if you look also carefully at the people who starred the repo, and there are a lot of people who starred it, you'll have someone from Microsoft and another person from Microsoft. So yes, so even though they're not directly saying, oh hey, we're gonna let you bypass anti-bot systems with Playwright, there are going to be other frameworks that use Playwright with the stealthy CDP capabilities, and then those anti-bot systems are bypassed. So also, pretty cool thing, stealthy CDP works well with GitHub Actions. And I was running a simple script where I was scraping some Priceline just to see if it would work in GitHub Actions, and data came in, which means I was able to, scrape data right from GitHub Actions, which anyone can use for free because there's like the free version for open source frameworks. And people might be wondering, why does stealthy CDP work in GitHub Actions but not in other kinds of services like AWS? Well, here's why. Answer: GitHub Actions runs in a residential IP address space. That is a huge deal because, AWS runs in a very known IP range where people know if you're like running a script from there, then it's coming from AWS, which means it's not human person controlling a web browser, which means it's a bot. And people are going to likely block you for IP ranges, but not if you're running things from GitHub Actions. So for those of you unfamiliar with residential IP addresses, that is a public IP address assigned to a residential internet user by their internet service provider. It's a gateway that allows all devices on a home network to access the internet. So basically, that's the secret. People can use residential proxies to get a residential IP address if their IP address is not residential. And some legal info behind that I looked up. It is legal to use residential proxies to scrape content from a public website, but illegal to scrape content from a private website. In other words, your web scraper should not log into a website and then collect data from within that login session. So yeah, if you got residential proxies and you're scraping public data, go for it. According to the data online, it is legal. So yeah, to summarize that, scraping public data is probably legal. Think light side. Scraping private data is probably not legal. Think dark side. And if you break local and/or international laws, then bounty hunters may come after you. So let's get back to the SeleniumBase, talking about all the CDP stuff and other frameworks, etc. So SeleniumBase includes a special Chrome extension called the Recorder. You can generate complete scripts with it. SBase Recorder --UC. And it kind of looks like this, you put in the file you want to save it as, the URL you want to record on, etc. And out will come, a script that you want to generate. So let's use the SeleniumBase Recorder to say go to Pokemon.com and let's record. And let's see what we got. Right, so I'm going to accept all cookies and I'm going to play Pokemon events. I'm going to click find event and let's do a search for like Newton, Massachusetts, USA, and click search. And here we go. So now we have a bunch of different Pokemon events that came up. 16 events found, etc. So you can go click in, and when you're done recording, you just type C in the console and press continue, and out comes your script. Looks like this. So yeah, I recorded all that. You can see the activate CDP mode, and it's performing various actions. Let's try running that script with the playback demo mode, which slows things down. See if the recorder worked. Okay, so we're going in. It's going to accept. It's going to play Pokemon events. Let's see if it got everything. It's going to do Newton, Mass, USA. It's going to click search. And there you go. It works. It works. So yeah, as you can see here, yeah, it's cool. Recorder can generate scripts for you. So yeah, that's the recorder. Okay, so how does one make an automation recorder? So you basically need to have knowledge of analytics software, automation and testing, and Chrome extensions. And with all those key ingredients, you have an automation recorder. And really, there's not much difference between analytics software and test recorders because they both involve, using event listeners to grab the data. The only difference with analytics software is that the data will go to like the service provider and their customers, and it'll be a different output format. But otherwise, the analytics software stuff is very similar to recording things in a web browser for test automation. So if you're not familiar what an event listener is, they're basically functions that wait for specific events to occur on a web page and then execute a specified action in response. So you could have the add event listener method. So for instance, element.add event listener, event function, etc. And then with all these things, you can basically, if someone types text somewhere, you can record it. If they click a button, you can record that. And afterward, you output test automation script. Here's like a full example. Constant button equals document.get element by ID, my button. And then you add the event listener, you click function, and then you send an alert button clicked. But instead of like sending the alert, you're like tabulating all this data, and you're going to make a script out of it. And here we go, all the things you can record, such as click, mouse over, mouse out, key down, key up, load, and resize. So yeah, that's the secret to building a test recorder. And also note that there are a lot more other stealth CDP repos out there than the ones I covered, like Drision page, that's a popular one, had like, over 8,000 GitHub stars. Then there's Selenium driverless. It's, a few hundred GitHub stars. And PatchWrite Python, it's a relatively new one, maybe only like 40 stars. So yeah, there's other frameworks out there, not just, undetected Chrome driver or no driver, or SeleniumBase UC mode or SeleniumBase CDP mode, etc. A lot of different frameworks are getting into the game, like Scrapling that I showed you earlier, where the Microsoft people were starring that repo. So yeah, there's a lot out there. Let's also take a field trip to the CDP mode help docs, where we'll learn more things. So going in, you'll see that there's just documentation, shows you like various things you can do. The key method is activate CDP mode with the URL. That'll activate CDP mode. And then there are tons of other methods that are available that you can use that. So some common SB-CDP methods like sb.cdp.click selector, sb.cdp.click if visible, type, press keys, select all, get text. All these are available to people. So yeah, the docs are really good. It uses also similarly the UC mode methods, such as sb.reconnect, sb.connect. You can also disconnect the web driver from the web browser and then use CDP mode to basically click things without being detected. And you can check if you're connected or not at any point. And there are just tons of different examples on the website. Like, for instance, here is the Pokemon example that we ran earlier. There's like sb.cdp.click, etc. Different other actions like scroll into a view. You can assert elements. You can get the text, and you can like grab event, then print things. So as we were scraping the data, that was all appearing there. Here's the example of the Hyatt site that was using Casada for protection, and here's a script that bypassed that. There's also the Best Western site here that was using Datadome protection, and we bypassed that pretty easily. Here's the Walmart example, and if we scroll down, here's the Nike example. Yeah, that one was a shorter one, but yeah, essentially, yeah, all the examples are there, and we have a full list of methods that you can use. Like here, there's like just tons of different stuff. There's so many different things. We've got like, drag and drop. We've got different scrolling methods. You have hover and click. You can get the cookies from a website. You can get a whole list of elements, etc. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can use here. So note that mouse click uses a simulated mouse click, whereas there is another GUI click section where it's actually going to use PyAutoGUI to physically move the mouse and click a certain element on a web page. So there are options here. Also, once you've found an element, the element itself has a few different methods that you can use from within it. So yeah, so those are the CDP mode docs, and that's all available from the SeleniumBase GitHub page. You just scroll down, you'll see the whole CDP section here, and you get to read about and find out how to build all these scripts yourself. So yeah, that is the CDP mode help docs. So if you have any questions, you can go to SeleniumBase discussions. I also showed you the Discord link earlier. Easy to find me. If you found a bug, SeleniumBase issues, you can find that. Also, final remarks, SeleniumBase gives you the tools you need to succeed and tools to build lots of bots. So yeah, that is the end of the presentation, and I hope you have a lot of fun. Just note that there are plenty of other examples that you might be interested in running. For instance, if I go into the CDP mode directory, which has, if I do like a PWD, you can see the GitHub SeleniumBase examples CDP mode. You'll find all these other examples that I didn't necessarily get to run. So for instance, if you want to learn about collecting XHR requests, you could do like Python raw XHR, and then it's going to basically go into, say, a website, learn.microsoft.com. It will scroll it a bit so that it gives time for various XHR things to load. And you can see here the request URL and the response body. So this is essentially like you could use this as a replacement for Selenium Wire, which was previously used for similar things. So that's an example of that. Also, if we do Python raw raw res SB, that's another example of like collecting requests and responses on a website. So we'll scroll up. After we scroll up, you'll see that there's request will be sent, response received, etc. So it's basically grabbing all the data that would appear in your network tab. So yeah, there's a lot of cool examples if you just go into the SeleniumBase examples folder, CDP mode. All the examples that I showed you here earlier are there, so give those a try. Yeah, everything as easy as, bypassing CAPTCHAs to all the advanced anti-bots, that's all there. So yeah, enjoy having fun with those. And of course, see me if you have any questions. And note that I am not the only game in town. Just want you to know that there's lots of other stealth CDP repos out there. So yeah, take your pick. You might have favorite ones. Like if you're a Python developer, that is the most common one. But if you like JavaScript, there might be like one or two stealth CDP ones for that. Just take a look. But anyway, thanks for watching this presentation, and I will talk to you all later.